Green Goddess, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me as I wrap up my fourth episode of a 4-episode series of Mysteries of the Lost Lands. And I've had a lot of fun talking about Lemuria, Atlantis, and today Avalon. And if you not sure which one you may resonate with the most, my first episode, which was August, I'll pull up my calendar, August 3rd episode, which you can find over at 12radio.com. I do give a test to see what lost land you resonate with the most. So if you are wondering about that, you can go over there and listen. It is a very condensed version of the test. If you are interested in diving deeper into the lost lands and where you belong and where you resonate with, how it can help you in your present day life, then you can certainly go over to 12listen.com, where I have a time-based session that focuses absolutely on the lost lands, where you fit in that, how it can help you. So I would encourage you to go over and check it out. And I do have it at a reduced rate too, and I'll keep it up for another week, and then I'll have to raise the rates. So I hope that you're having a good day. I think I already said that, but I'm excited because I think out of all the lost lands, I resonate the most with Avalon. And a couple years ago, I had the most awesome experience with going physically to where Avalon is known to be, is believed to reside, or the ancient lands of Avalon. And that is the heart chakra of the world, Glastonbury, England. And I will share with you today further in this episode, or maybe I'll get to it sooner because I'm so excited, how you can physically go and visit the lost lands of Avalon. And it's an incredible journey. One of our psychic advisors over at 12listen.com, Donna Virgilio, takes people on goddess tours. And that is where, I guess I'm talking about it now. And that is where I was able to go physically on a tour, a goddess tour, and to explore the lost lands of Avalon. And it's an incredible journey. And we will talk, I get so excited, we will talk a little bit more about that throughout the episode. But if you are wanting to experience it in the physical, and certainly we can, and like I did for many, many years, meditated, went and visited the land of Avalon, and really, I believe, time traveled to the lands. And so when I actually set foot in Glastonbury and the surrounding areas, I felt like I had been there before, and that a lot of remembering came back. And so it really brought back a lot of memories, and it prompted some new revelations for myself. When I left that trip, I was not the same. And I have carried it since in my heart. I do plan on going back to Glastonbury to spend a couple weeks there here in the next year or two, still ironing out those details. But If you would like to find out where you can get more information on the Goddess Site Tour, and Donna is taking people to England the summer of 2018, you can go over to our private chat room at Facebook, 12 Radio private chat room, and under my banner for today's show, you will see a link to Donna Virgilio's Facebook page that will tell you more about the Goddess Tour. And she told me the other day that if you mention the word Avalon, that you can get, this is the last day of the early registration, okay? But if you mention Avalon, she will honor that, and she won't do it for very long because this is the last day. So I would encourage you to sign up for the course, put your deposit down ASAP, and it will fill. It always fills. Her tours always fill, and I think that she has a few spots left in this one, and so act fast. Seriously, I almost didn't make it. I was like going, well, I was vacillating back and forth on the fence, and I think I was one of the last ones to register, and I'm so glad I did. You get to experience all the, like the Stonehenge, and going to Stonehenge before anyone else gets to go to Stonehenge early in the morning. I remember we woke up at we had to take the bus there at 4 a.m. in the morning, and we were able to walk amongst the stones in Stonehenge. And if you just show up at Stonehenge, the tours you're not able to go within the stones. It's a private tour that has to be planned and scheduled prior to that. So it's something that not a lot of people get to do these days. You are from afar looking, and in Donna's tour, you're able to walk amongst the stones, meditate, and I will tell you a little bit about my experience. I was walking along and amongst the stones, and all of a sudden, every direction that I looked, there was no one around. It was as if I was in Stonehenge all by myself. And it was like I was in this other world. It was the most profound feeling that I've ever had. And I was so excited about the feeling. And do you know how you are so excited about a feeling that you're having that you take yourself out of that feeling because you're like, oh my gosh, this feeling. Well, that's what I did. And I could have stayed in that feeling for much longer, but I was just so excited and so wanting to tell someone about my experience. But it is definitely otherworldly. So I will talk a little bit more about what's in store on the Goddess Tour to England, to Glastonbury, to surrounding areas of the historic land of Avalon throughout the show. But I wanted to just get back to a little bit of the history. Now, we talked about Lemuria being the oldest the lands, and then Atlantis came about, and Lemurians traveled to Atlantis when the land started shifting and sinking into the sea, went to Atlantis, and Lemuria and Avalon. There are stations or places all over the world that have this kind of energy that many eons ago, when the Lemurian lands primarily over, in the northwest and towards Australia, New Zealand, and there was also Lemurian stations all over the world. Okay, and it's just the same as Atlantis. You know, there are Atlantean energies and sacred sites all over the world, but primarily, like we talked about last week, Atlantis is you know, on the other side of the world in like Greece and that area, but it spreads. There is known to be in the Native American legends and such that there are myths and legends about the four corners of the United States and the southwestern parts of the United States that are very much Atlantean energy. And in the Salish Sea up in the San Juan Islands, the Lemurian energy is very prevalent there. If you've ever went up there, that's off of Washington State, part of Washington State. And so Avalon is the same way. Although Avalon, just like, you know, there are major areas of the different lost lands, Avalon's major areas are, you know, places throughout Europe and Britain and Ireland, France, and you know, the different areas around there, Cornwall, Wales. There are a lot of there is a lot of energy that is still around, that when you go there and just feel, you can feel that ancient energy. So very, very, very nice. I'm just kind of looking here. It almost sounded like I got disconnected from Skype, but I think that, I'm not sure if I did or not, but I am Facebook Live, so yes. I'm going to go into the chat room for just a moment and say hi to everyone. And I know that during these shows, I will go all over the place. I don't mean to, but that's just the way that it goes when this information is coming up into my brain. And I'm going to the 1-2 Radio site, and it seems to be jamming up here. Okay, well, I won't go there for a minute. But let's, while I'm trying to get into the chat room, I will talk a little bit more about that energy. Well, it seems like my internet is very slow, so I'm hoping that I am on. Okay, so when we go into the Avalonian energies, you know, the Atlantis, when Atlantis started sinking down into the sea and stuff, then the Atlanteans and the Lemurians that were in Atlantis traveled to the areas that I've already spoken of throughout Europe, and they landed there. Now, during the ancient times, the veil was much thinner than it is now, so we were able to see the dragons, the fae, the magical beings that are still around us. We just have closed up our, you know, the veil is a little thicker now, actually quite a bit thicker, to where we don't necessarily see the beings unless we go into meditation, or we see them through our third eye. When we meditate, we will be able to see them sometimes in person. I know sometimes just by focusing on the Avalon energy, that it will bring me to that where I can see like the fae, especially the fairies, out of the corner of my eye. They don't stay very long, but they like, you know, wish, you know, right back. So, yeah, it's very, very magical energy. I am a little distracted here because I was off the internet, and you know what, Scott, my producer, I haven't been able to get on Facebook, but my Facebook Live is still going. So if I am just coming back to you via 12radio.com. I'm not sure what happened. It showed that I had internet, but I couldn't get on Facebook, nor could I be connected to you guys listening through 12 Radio. So I'm glad that I'm back, and you know, doggone it, the internet better just like stay put. The energy has been tremendous the last couple of days. Maybe because it's, you know, the big push or the big bang before Mercury goes direct. So that might be part of why this is, you know, doing this. But I'm glad I'm back anyway. So, when the Atlanteans and the Lemurians and you know, the ancestor, or the, you know, the kids from the ancestors, because those civilizations lasted for years and years, thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So you know, we are the children of them, of one land or another, or maybe both, you know, and we end up over in the Avalon kind of energy over in Europe. And we and I identify myself as a goddess, as someone who lived in Avalonian times, and we not only could see the fae, communicate with them, wizards like Merlin, we also could see dragons. We could shapeshift. We knew that the animals that came to us were symbols, were there to give us messages. And you know, they would shapeshift, or the wizards would shapeshift into an animal, or an animal would shapeshift into a wizard. There was a lot of magic. We lived very much of the land and of the magic. We enjoyed the magic. If we were priestesses, we would do a lot of our work underground, in chambers, under like the stones, in the magical places. There are hills and stones like Avebury and Stonehenge, where it is believed that there are chambers and tunnels that used to be and flow underneath for, the fae folk, or the dragons, and the creatures that we don't see in the third dimension any longer. Going down there, we could see them a lot easier, or they would come up and visit us. We really went into the ceremonies. The seasons were extremely important to us, which this is very similar to the Lemurian times, when the seasons, when they lived of the land, and the seasons were very important to them. Live simple, whereas the Avalon, especially in Glastonbury, it's as if people have come there to make a community in a place that is very sacred. So the community is built around the sacredness. And people from all over, especially during Beltane, the 1st of May, come to Glastonbury to celebrate fertility, celebrate freedom, celebrate being our authentic selves. And I was there during that time, and we danced around the maypole. We jumped over the cauldron of fire and danced and sang and just really got in touch with that goddess energy that we carry with us in our heart, but to feel it and feel the tangibility of it in the physical form is, I can't even begin to express how it's just, you have to experience it for yourself. Now, that was one of the things that we did within the tour. I'm sure that there are other rituals and goddess things, meditations that you will experience on Donna's tour. Now, one of the probably, I don't know, there is so many aspects of her tour that were just phenomenal. Seeing the tour for the first time, and I was going to put a picture of the tour in the chat room, and I didn't pull up, but I have a pictures of where people have visited the tour for so many years, hundreds and hundreds of years, that where they're walking up the trail to go up the hill on the back side of the tour, the steps, the footsteps are like carved into the hill. It's not just a trail anymore to go up. There are literal footsteps that are like stairs that have been made within the hill. And it was pretty phenomenal to me to realize that the steps that I was taking have been taken so many times before, that they I was just like one of a million probably going up because of these steps that were naturally made by all the people visiting the tour. Now, I will give you some information about the tour. So when you are coming into Glastonbury and you look beyond, in my experience, there was a little bit of fog. And so when I saw the tour for the first time, it was like there was this fog or mist on the bottom. And so it looked as if it was floating. And the energy of it, even from afar, was tangible. Even looking at pictures, when you look at pictures of the tour on the internet, you can feel the energy from that picture. And the tour, it joins the land, it joins the sky, it joins the goddess, the god, all together. And, it, embraces the whole Avalon energy, embraces some Christian energy, some pagan energy, the god, the goddess. And there are known to be, again, I mentioned that the Glastonbury is the heart chakra of the world. But there are ley lines in and under the tour and throughout that area that are known as the Beltane line, which is otherwise called the Michael line. So Archangel Michael, I'm assuming. And this is where the dragons and the beings of light can come together in harmony, and still do today. It's just a little denser energy to easily see them. But if you have an open mind and you're creative, and actually you don't even have to be creative, just an open mind and an imagination, you can have some beautiful experiences along the ley lines. And you know, the earth has ley lines and energy points and stuff, you know, throbbing, heart throbbing all over it. And it's really, if you, I'm sure, have an area around you that you may not even realize is a ley line or a vortex. So no matter what area, there is something like that near you. The ley lines in Glastonbury and around the Tor are bigger. Yeah, again, you can feel that energy, that tangible energy. So some of the other places that the Lemurians and the Atlanteans migrated to, and which I find interesting, what I have noticed with people who are interested in the lost lands, many of them are seekers. Many of them travel, whether they travel physically or they stay put in their community, but they are always traveling in their mind's eye or in meditation, having out-of-body experiences, astral traveling. It's just something that you will do if you resonate with any of these lost lands at all. And what I have also experienced with talking to some people that are also resonating the most with the Avalon energy is that it's something that is within them. For years and years and years, they wish to be in that physical energy. They feel it etherically and around them. But once they get to that energy, it changes their life. So some of the, I think that Glastonbury has, and this is just my opinion, and it's my opinion because I haven't visited some of the other magical spots of Avalon that are in France, that are in Wales. Wales has a lot of different sites that's very much Avalonian energy. The Isle of Man, I hear, has a huge spiritual community, everyone who lives there. And that reminds me of when I was house sitting and dog sitting for one of our other advisors over at One to Listen. She also has a radio show, Breakfast with Erica. I was at her house, stayed there for a month a couple years back, and she has this, there's this castle, and for the life of me, I can't remember what the castle's name was, but I was at the castle walking around one day, and I connected with this elderly lady who was visiting from the Isle of Man. And I mean, just, I was very attracted to her, and we kept on running into one another wherever we would go, you know, even going out into a field and going to the same tree, we kept on running into each other. So we ended up having a tea together and talking, and it was just incredible. The realness that she portrayed, and the wisdom that she had, and she really was a, I don't know, just a, an example of how someone can be living in this energy in one of the vortexes, or one of the sacred spaces, the places that is known as Avalon. You know, there are places in Ireland as well that very much Avalon energy. And I had the blessing, I was blessed with being able to live in Ireland for a couple years off and on. I would travel back and forth. And I had an ancient Mother Mary well that was at the end of the property, just right up the road, right on top of a hill overlooking the sea. And it was incredible. I would go up and visit Mother Mary. There is a Mother Mary statue there, or still is, and a sacred holy well that was used during the times of when the pagans would come up there and use the waters for healing. And then it was, you know, taken over by Christianity. And, you know, to this day, there are people that come up to visit this beautiful holy well that I was blessed to be able to have in my life every single day when I would go up there and meditate and such. But there are a lot of places throughout Ireland that have that Avalon energy that you could also visit. You know, the goddess, there are many different goddesses, which I'm not going to get into today because I just don't have time, but there are many different goddesses that represent that energy. And like Bridget comes to mind, that you can get to know more of Bridget when you feel her energy more, or I did anyway, when I was in Ireland and living in Ireland. And it's just, you know, it's funny because I had so many words for the last couple episodes, and when I talk about this episode, it's not necessarily something that I could almost articulate in words, but I feel it. I feel it within my body. And, you know, I can't describe the feeling that I get when experiencing these places in the physical. And it's just something that you have to experience yourself. And, you know, for those of you who maybe you can't travel, or you don't choose to travel, you can certainly get this energy running through your body by reading things about the Avalon energy. And, you know, that reminds me of when you do sign up for Donna's England trip and getting to experience this Avalon energy firsthand. She will also send you a book of, let me see, it is the Priestess of Avalon book, and it's a very popular book by Kathy Jones. So by registering, she will send you that book so you can feel the descriptions in the book take you there. So if you're not able to literally go and physically be there, you know, there are books out there that you can read that will really take you there to that energy. There was another place that I visited during my tour with Donna that really meant a lot to me. And it was funny because before the tour, I couldn't say the name, and my roommate kept on correcting me when I would say it. But it is Tantalgil. and it is where it is known that it is believed that this was where King Arthur resided, and there is remains of castle up on the bluff, and you're able to you go up these really kind of scary stairs, but I did it. I mean, lots of people do it, but go up these stairs to be able to walk around in the remnants of this castle from centuries ago, and the magic and the beauty. It's not something I can absolutely describe. It's just undescribable. Underneath Tintagel is a cave, and this cave is the Merlin's cave, and the tide was out at the time. We went when the tide was out, so we were able to get into the cave. And we waded way back into the cave, and we took some pictures. And there definitely, after we got the pictures back, or we looked at them later that night, there were images that looked like Merlin was there. And we were so tickled because it definitely felt the energy down in the cave was wise yet full of humor. We kept giggling. There was a lot of fairy energy there because we kept giggling and giggling out of control, really. I mean, we couldn't stop laughing and giggling. And so that was one of the most magical places that we visited. And if you have a chance to go visit, very, very magical indeed, and you will feel that energy of Avalon. So I'm gonna read a little bit about, I'm going to read what Donna's description of her tour is, because I absolutely think it's worthwhile. It just to describe, and if you are a seeker and you are seeking to immerse yourself in this energy of Avalon, this tour definitely is for you. So this is her words. Travel to Stonehenge for a private sunrise goddess ceremony in its inner circle. Walk to the Tor, the hill of mystery and legends. Tour the Roman and medieval baths and honor the goddess Minerva. Visit, pray, and receive healing at the Chalice Well and its sacred gardens. And, oh my gosh, the Chalice Wells, so magical. We went in to it's like in a cave, and we started singing goddess songs, and on the other side of the wall, the rock wall, as we were singing, I saw so many images of fairies, and I saw the rock wall like opening into another dimension, and I saw this with my own two eyes. It wasn't in my third eye, it was with my own two eyes, and it was incredible. So tour the Glastonbury Goddess Temple and participate in the official ritual and ceremonies. Journey to Tintagel, which I just talked about, said to be the mystical birthplace of King Arthur. Peek inside Merlin's cave and feel the energy of his magical realm. Walk through Avebury Stone Circle. Now that was incredible in itself. That's quite the walk in these big old rocks that you can walk amongst, and it's a huge circle, much bigger than Stonehenge. I mean, fields, much bigger than Stonehenge. So can you imagine how big this circle was, and the ceremony and the ritual that took place? It's just incredible, the energy. So also experiencing the West Kennet Long Barrels, Silbury Hill. And this is where every summer there are crop circles that show up. And it's incredible. You know, it is a place that the veil is thin, and not just at dawn and not just at dusk, but it is a place where you are able to feel more of your authentic self than ever before. We will meet the Lady of Avalon in rituals and meditation, drink and bathe in the living waters of the sacred springs, connect with this mystical, magical land, and with ancient ones who have passed before us beyond the veil. Now, on your free day, explore Glastonbury or take a day trip to London or the Wells Cathedral or surrounding cities. So you have plenty of time, even though the tour is like jam-packed of activities and stuff. You do have time to really immerse yourself in Glastonbury, or just travel to some of the close places for a day trip. Very, very worth it, I tell you. You couldn't have a better tour guide either, seriously. So let me, now that I'm on the internet again, let me just go in and just thank you everyone for taking the time to listen about Avalon. Being named Adam from Lemuria. Okay, so one of our listeners wants to know, had someone tell me a few days ago that she received a message from a being named Adam from Lemuria and is interested to get to know me. Any thoughts on this? Adama. Absolutely. When beings show up, and it's quite... actually, I've heard of this many times where people will all of a sudden get information from Lemuria especially that will want to connect with you. And so I would encourage your friend to take some time out, especially during the time that this spirit, this guide of your friends contacted her. They do like to be contacted around the same time because it's easier for them to get through the veils and go into our density. So that would be a word of advice, is it would be easier for her to communicate during that time. So, yeah, thanks everyone. And Donna is in thank you, Donna. She has posted pictures in the chat room of the places that she will take you. And if you have any questions, certainly contact Donna over at her Facebook page, or go to the chat room right now and connect with her, because she has so much information about. She is just meeting Donna. She is a very much a goddess that lives her authentic path, and she just, you feel like you're in this goddess energy when you're around goddess Donna the goddess. So something else that is really big in the Avalonian energy are trees, and how the trees communicate with us. You know, we have Green Man, who is, you know, the face that you see when you're walking around out in the woods. Green man will show up in faces of the trees, in the rocks, in the hillside, and the trees are a big part of, okay, what the trees mean in that Avalon energy. So I brought here, I'm a big, like, oh, I love what the different trees mean to us. And I can't find it now, but I did have, where did it go? There it is. So I pulled out my list of what the trees mean through the different signs, the astrological signs, and I'm going to go through that in just a second. But what was funny is I hadn't looked at this list for a while, and as I did, I sat down at my desk here this morning. I opened up my little drawer, and a hazelnut shell was what caught my attention in my little drawer, because I collect sticks and stones and little things, you know. And so this, it just popped out. It was the first thing that I saw. And I go to my list of the Avalonian tree energy, and I look under my sign, and it's hazelnut. So I had to laugh. You know, this stuff, I swear, we just, it's magic, especially if we are willing and open to tune into more of our authentic self, and to open our minds, and to really take the time to just listen, and listen to what our higher self has to say. So I'll just say birch. I'll start at December 24th to January 30th. Birch is for those dates in between. And this is not necessarily, this is not the astrological thing as I'm looking, but it is, you know, our birth date. So if it's if your birth date is between December 24th and January 20th, birch is your tree that is here to help you become more about standing up for yourself. And you usually are hard on yourself, so it's really important to, you know, use the birch to help you stand strong. Now I've got to go through this really quick. The rowan tree, January 21st to February 17th. And this tree its berries look like a 5-pointed star. And this tree protects those who are different from being judged. All right. So the ash. The ash is February 18th through March 17th, and this is for those of you who are empathetic, fast energy, that you exhaust easily. You have to be careful of overextending yourself, the ash tree. Now, I was just shown that I don't necessarily have to do the dates, because you can call in any of these trees. Okay, you could call in any of these trees for what you would like to work on. Okay, if you want to know the specific dates, you can contact me through one2listen.com, and I will go over this and go into it with depth with you. Okay, so the alder is about being strong, and it will help if you tend to be rigid in areas of your life. It will give you that courage. Okay, the willow tree. The willow tree helps you to kind of maneuver and shape and shapeshift as well. It is, you know, helps you with your sacred dance as well. So it helps you be more fluid. The hawthorn is something that will help you to simplify, or you can create. You can also destroy. You can, sometimes it's good to visit our dark side and maybe destroy some things that no longer serve us in a good way. This tree, the hawthorn, will also help us be more patient and, taking time to make these changes as well. The oak, ages old. The oak is very strong, deep roots, very wise. So if you are looking for wisdom, invoke the oak, or go put your back up against one of these trees if you want some of this energy to help you. The holly tree, this is about you having that even flowed, grounded energy. It also helps you to be respected as well as respecting others. The hazel tree, the hazelnut tree, is about discovering your true gifts, your inner treasures, and that deep knowledge within you, that magic within you. The vine, when you bring the vine into your life, it's about inviting others to entwine with you, to play along, to communicate with you. So if you're wanting more communication in your life, pick a tree that is viney, that has a lot of vines, because it's how vines will like intertwine with one another. If you want that intertwine, that communication, that community, the vine will help you with that. The ivy is a survivor. So if you are going through a hard or challenging time, the ivy will help you move through it. Because the ivy, it's hard to, get rid of ivy. It will come back even if you pull the roots. So, if you need that extra strength, call in the ivy, because the ivy's going to get you through whatever you're going through right now. The reed. You are stronger than anyone knows, and the reed tree will help you with that. So the reed, it is about you really just going within. You are a healer. You are you create shelter. You help others, you nurture. So if you are wanting to be nurtured more, or if you want to help someone that maybe doesn't want to be nurtured or helped, call in the reed, okay? The last one is the elder. So without really saying, the elder, it is about bringing in the elders, your ancestor energy, and having that energy just really be there to support you. So there is so much more to this Avalon energy, the Avalon places. I would encourage you to continue to do research or go on a goddess tour. It will change your life. It will bring that magic that maybe you are seeking or searching for, or that is just out of touch. It will really bring it back in home with you. Okay, so we are out of time already, and I just want to let you know that I've enjoyed being here with you today. And this program, very quickly, is brought to you by Juice Plus. If you want to know more about Juice Plus, getting more fruits and veggies into your way of eating every day, contact me over at facebook.com, Groovy Green Goddess. And I will tell you more about it. So I will see you next week. In the meantime, stay tuned for the Psychic Sisters, Against the Rules, Alive and Live, and then later on, Pathways to Consciousness, Mole Mama, around dinner time. And until next week, you have a peaceful and blessed week, and I will see you soon.